Hi, Michael. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what business it is that you work on, please?
Absolutely. My name is Michael Perna, like it says on the shirt. I run a company called the Perna Team. We're a real estate agency with roughly 132 real estate agents at this moment.
Mm,
I've been a real estate practitioner for 24 years, and I am stalling out on growth in a couple of different key areas, which is what we're going to be talking about and hopefully unpacking and hopefully helping me dislodge today. But like a lot of business owners, you get to a plateau and you kind of get stuck. My current business looks like 132 agents. I've got 6 people in leadership. I've got roughly 30 people as far as back end staff between closing coordinators, listing coordinators, photographers, videographers, runners, inside sales people. I have 11 of those. So we're not exactly a typical real estate office, although we do service residential at a high level. Right now, we're selling around 1,100 homes per year, around 300 million per year of real estate.
cool. Okay. So, you've been doing it a while. You've got a big team. What are the predominant growth bottlenecks as you see them at the moment, then?
Yeah, my number one growth bottleneck
Mm,
is quality real estate agents. That is my number one. The quality agent that's going to get out there, do a 5-star job. And I
mm,
need it to be a 5-star job because we are a big company. We are a bigger household name in the business here in Metro Detroit.
mm,
1 or 2 bad reviews can can cost us 50 deals. It can cost us 50 people looking at our reviews and saying, nope, this is not the company for me with my real estate transaction because it's a very
mm,
personal thing. And finding quality real estate agents and bringing them onto the team has been an ongoing issue for the last year. We're doing it, but it's
mm.
nowhere near the velocity I need.
Sure. Okay. And what is the velocity that you're looking at? Where are you at the moment and where would you like to get with it?
Yeah. So we're at 132 agents at this
Mm,
particular point in time.
mm,
About half of them are part-time, half of them are full-time. We've got
mm,
about 60 full-time. I need
mm.
to get my full-time base from 60 to 85 by the end of the year. So almost a 50% push.
Okay, fine.
It's big. It's a
And
big lift. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And first of all, why? Why do you need it to be at 85, whereas it's at 60 at the moment?
Sure. Can I get a little personal on that?
Please do.
Okay. So going into COVID, and the 3, 4 years previous to that, I was selling about 120, 130 million in real estate per year. And just to be completely candid, I was happy. I making the money I wanted to make, living the life I wanted to live. My sister lives abroad. She's in Abu Dhabi, and I could go there 6 weeks a year, 8 weeks a year, see my niece and nephew, go spend a month in Barcelona if I wanted to, like literally do. I was living the life that a lot of people dream of, and I'm very blessed and very grateful for that. And with that came some complacency. Some of the other real estate offices and real estate teams in the area continued to evolve and grow, and I didn't.
Mm,
And then my sales started to backslide because they were going into lead programs that I didn't know, I didn't even know about because I was
mm,
off playing in Europe or playing in wherever or like
mm.
traveling India for 3 weeks or whatever I was doing at that moment. Right.
Yes.
Um, those were the first couple of years of my life where I wasn't in the grind for the first time in 15 years. I've been doing this 24 years total. So I
Mm,
kind of went and played for 2 years and took my eye off the ball. And what ended up happening was, it wasn't that the sales backslid that truly impacted my income. It did. It
mm.
100% did. And honestly, that's okay because it's my income. But then it got to a point where I was considering doing layoffs.
Okay.
And that's where the problem came in because I firmly believe, and this I think goes back to just the way I was raised by my parents.
Mm,
Um, my father was a union auto worker at General Motors for 37 years, and I watched him just get laid off repeatedly by General Motors as they made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision in the 80s and the 90s, early 2000s. And in my mind, I'm like, hey, he's entrusting his time to receive a paycheck,
mm,
but also the security in knowing that whoever's at the top at General Motors is going to make the key right decisions to make sure my father stays employed.
mm,
Otherwise, as an electrician, he could just go out and double his hourly wage and be an
mm,
electrician for himself. So I transfer that into my company. My people are making the choice in me as a leader. They can go to
mm.
any of 100 real estate companies out there. They can
Yeah.
go closing coordinate as a W-2. They can sell real estate as a 1099, but they're choosing me and my leadership because at the end of the day, people are going to buy and sell real estate, whether or not I exist. Realtors are going to sell real estate, whether or not I exist,
Mm,
but they're choosing me to make the right choices to protect their family incomes and making sure that I continue growing to play defense against the other companies in the field.
Mm,
And that's when it all kind of changed for me, my perspective around why I need to grow this company.
mm, sure. And so you did 15 years, then you did the 2 years where you had fun, and you've been doing it obviously a while after that, right? Post COVID, I assume.
Yep.
Are you now back to the grind like you were in those first 15 years? Is it slightly different? How does that look?
It looks a little bit different. So I went back to the grind at day one of COVID,
Okay.
back in 2020. Here in Michigan, it was complete and total lockdown.
Yeah.
I mean, restaurants were closed, businesses were closed. We couldn't close on homes. We had to close remotely on the deals that were currently in process. And for 2 weeks, we couldn't close at all because all the banking and the infrastructure there in Michigan was closed.
Mm,
And nobody knew what was going to happen. It was a big time of uncertainty. And so, as a company, I called together my leadership team literally first week of COVID. And I said, okay, here's what we're doing, guys. This is our new thing. Every single day, we're going to be on a Zoom with our people. It's actually
mm,
going on right now as we're
mm,
on this podcast. And every single day, we're going to bring hope. We're going to bring joy. We're going to bring wins. We're going to
mm,
bring what is our one thing as each individual agent we need to tackle today to make today a successful day, even if we're locked in our houses. What
mm,
does this look like to make sure that our agents are getting the income they need while the world's on fire?
mm,
And we still do that today. We still do a Zoom 5 days a week, every single day. It looks a little different now because the depression that was involved with COVID isn't there anymore, which is great. But then other agents started hearing about this and saying, okay, my company is telling me to go basically take 60 days off.
mm,
And what some of these broker owners didn't see was they're in their ivory tower. They can take 60 days off and it doesn't really impact them. But you
mm,
got the guy that's living paycheck to paycheck who's like, okay, where is my next rent payment coming in? I need to scrape together my next car payment.
mm,
That guy hears go take 60 days off and enjoy your family and stay safe. They hear the company's going to fall apart. I don't have any income. I need to go find somewhere where I can generate income.
yes.
And then word spread pretty quickly that we were still full force at work. We were doing virtual showings. We were doing virtual closings. We were doing everything we could to continue the process of selling properties to keep the paychecks going into my people's pockets
Mm,
throughout that time period.
mm,
So we just naturally ballooned from 18, 19 agents at that moment to 75 agents in under 18 months.
wow. Okay. Rapid transformation.
Very rapid,
Mm,
literally double the business in 12 months.
okay. And so it sounds like the backslide that was happening in those 2 years where you were spending 3 weeks in India and having a great time, it got transformed as a result of COVID. You had a very different approach to your competitors, and therefore you were able to grow very, very quickly and recoup, it sounds like, quite a the losses in many ways that you had then. Is that fair?
That's fair. And I think also leading from the front helped. And it seemed like the industry split into two the leadership phases, ones that stepped to the front and led from the front and ones that didn't.
Mm,
And the ones that didn't lost 30, 40, 50% market share. And the
yes.
ones that led from the front and leading from the front looked different for all of us. For me, it looked like a daily Zoom. For me, it looked like I was going into the office and telling all my staff, do not come in. I'll handle it. And it worked. And
Yeah.
leading from the front saved the company.
Yes. And so I'm going to ask a really stupid question then, Michael, right? So you said that you went up to 75, you're back at 60, right? And you say that you want to grow to 85. So I understand why you want to keep everybody happy. You told a great story about kind of your dad and General Motors and the kind of ambition and the desire behind that, which is great. But what is stopping you remaining at 60 or growing a little bit perhaps, just making sure that everybody's roster is completely full, making sure that you've got the greatest team in the world, that everybody wants to work for you, and just maintain incredibly high standards at that level? Why the need to continue to grow?
So two reasons that are not exclusive and not competing. Number one, I don't ever want to be in this place where I backslide to a point where I got to look somebody in the eye and say, I'm so sorry. You don't have a job anymore and you can't feed your family because I
Mm,
made poor decisions.
yeah.
I don't want to have that conversation. I mean, that's obviously not what the conversation looks like when a business leader has it, but that's effectively what they say.
Mm.
And that's number one. But number two, have you read the book, The Infinite Game by
I've read,
Simon Sinek?
no, I haven't read the whole book. No, no.
Don't worry about it. Here it is in a
Yeah,
nutshell.
yeah.
Find a game that you can't actually win and
Mm,
continue battling that game every single day until you do.
mm,
And the infinite game is not, the construct is not, I'm going to battle my competitor. because that's a very finite game.
Yes.
Because once I go and get to number one, great. Now what? I'm number one. Okay, great.
Yeah.
The infinite game that we are choosing to play at my company
Mm.
is there are 112,000 children that are food insecure that go to bed on any given night without a meal.
Okay.
There are 130,000 seniors that do the same thing. I believe in this country, we do a very poor job of making sure our children and our seniors are well maintained and well taken care of. There are different programs out there that do it, and they're failing. And they're only failing because they're underfunded, they're understaffed. So my company will solve both of those issues in the state of Michigan, and that is my infinite game.
Okay. Fine.
Is to help 242,000 people to be sure that they get their wellness check. They get as a senior, they get their wellness check from Meals on Wheels, and they're able to get fed by great places like Forgotten Harvest as children.
Oh, okay. Very honorable. Okay. Amazing. And so how have you linked the two then? You have linked that growing faster, right? Being the dominant player in Detroit, Michigan, right? Is that you can then contribute in a greater way to do that. Do you directly fund the charity? You run the charity? Like, how does that exactly work for you?
A little bit of both. Right now, we fund, not completely, but we're a larger donor for what's called Forgotten Harvest here in Michigan. They take in food. They go get food that a Kroger or a Meijer or a grocery store can no longer sell. They bring it into their facility, repackage it into meals, and then they get that out to over 200 soup kitchens, food pantries, things like that throughout the community, churches throughout the community. So we fund that with both dollars and time. Sometimes a crisis needs money. Sometimes it needs time. It just needs hours. It needs manpower. And sometimes it needs supplies, but that's a different thing. Money can solve that issue. And I think that's where we're at here in Michigan is we're missing both with federal funding cuts coming in towards a lot of these charities. We have $3.8 million taken out of that budget. So we need money, but we also need time. So every year, every other month as a company, we go physically volunteer and we package and we create 8,000 to 10,000 meals. In addition to that, I give everybody an extra week of vacation if they use that week towards some sort of volunteer work. I do not care what it is. I don't. You can literally volunteer at any charity you want. Don't care. But if that's what you're doing, I'm still going to pay you. And with 100 people getting an extra week, it's a movable force in our local economy, in our local market, with our local families. It's pretty cool to get a call from Forgotten Harvest saying, oh, by the way, you guys shipped 47,000 meals last year. How cool is that? I was like, no kidding. That's amazing.
Yes, that's insane. Okay, amazing. So I understand the mission. I understand where you want to go. I understand why this means a lot for you then. So the biggest growth lever to make that more of a reality is being able to hire the type of talent that you need to kind of continue to keep the high standards so that you are continue to be considered as like number one in the area, right?
That's it.
What have you tried to solve this problem?
Okay. So far I have spent an exorbitant amount of money on Indeed. Okay. Way more than I should ever have spent on Indeed. And when I say exorbitant, I mean my bill last month was around $16,000. I did scale that back quite dramatically because that was like, okay, I'm going to test this for a month, see if this is working. It did not, by the way. I'm running Facebook and Instagram ads towards existing agents that are in the market. I have a full-time recruiter that's calling agents that are failing, that have seen their businesses drop 30 to 50%. I'm considering setting up a real estate school myself because, hey, if I can get them licensed, they probably won't go anywhere. And getting a license in real estate is very easy. Getting a license is not the barrier to entry to real estate. The barrier to entry to real estate is doing the work. So that's where a lot of my issue comes in is we are hiring 10 people per month. However, 8 or 9 of them fail in the first 30 days.
Okay. What does failure look like in your mind?
They either wash out of real estate or wash out of the company. Okay. So, and what that looks like is so a lot of people get into real estate thinking the whole job is showing a pretty kitchen, and that's not it at all. We're in the lead procurement and lead fulfillment business, just like anybody else, just like General Motors, just like Pepsi, Coke, any restaurant up and down the street. If you have nobody eating at your restaurant, you have no food to make. The point is to make the food. But to do that, you have to focus on getting people through the door. To do that in real estate, you've got to pick up the phone and actually call people.
Yeah.
Like I can bring in all of the inquiries. I can spend all the money on Google pay-per-click or whatever that looks like to bring the people through the front door and say, hey, I want to eat here. Or what are the taxes on this house? What are the bedroom sizes? What would the monthly payment be? I can have all those questions teed up. But if the guy's not willing to pick up the phone 50 times a day and say, hey, man, I'm giving you a call back because you want to know what the taxes were. Hey, the taxes are about $8,000 a year. Is this within your budget? Should we go take a look at this? Hey, there are 2 other ones on the market as well, by the way. Let's go look at those as well. And then go show the house. If they're not willing to do that, they fail. They fail out of the business.
Fine.
Literally.
Okay. And success for you is just being able to pick up the phone 50 times a day, or what is your benchmark for then success from the 2 that survive per month?
Yeah. So my definition of success is anybody that's closing more than $3 million in real estate per year, up to whatever their personal goal is.
Okay.
Because at $3 million per year, you are actually living above our Metro Detroit median income, which is great. So I now have somebody that has a better income than the average job out there, which is great. And then top line in this company, that people are making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. And then the question comes in, is that what you want at this stage of your life? Like I've got a fantastic young lady. She actually had left the company and came back. She's got 4 kids and they're all in some form of sport. So she does not want to go make $250,000 a year. If she adds $75,000 to the household budget, that's a game changer for her family.
Okay.
Once you get past 3 million, you start getting more options and freedoms in life to be able to choose where your time goes. Does it go to selling up to 10 million, or do you just stay at 3 and you get to go do other things with your day?
Yes. And I would assume that do you want more people that are going out there trying to get 10 million, or for you, it doesn't matter as long as the quality remains exactly the same for the home seller?
Yeah, man, it doesn't matter because, Christina on the team, she sells her 3.5 million every year, year in, year out. She sells about 18 homes and she gets me 18 5-star reviews, which is great, which is way better than somebody selling 50 homes a year. That's just an absolute wrecking ball.
Okay.
I just had to fire one of those. Yeah.
Fine. Okay, cool. So once you get past the first month, what is the kind of the churn of people leaving within the existing business?
Yeah. The next stop point is usually between month 4 and 6, where they've tried it. They are not seeing success and they're frankly running out of funds and getting frustrated. And then they're believing this is not for them. And there are a couple of people where I pulled them aside. And I said, hey, look, I've been doing this 24 years, guy. Go do something else for another couple of years. Not to be offensive. This business is going to eat you up and you're going to come out the other side of this thing with a bankruptcy. And that's not the right thing by your family because we are commission based. There is no salary. Yeah.
Okay, fine. And so you mentioned Indeed, you've mentioned all the different avenues, you've got an internal recruiter, all of these different sorts of things, right? You mentioned in the email that you have kind of a week-long training, is it, where quite a large percentage drop out? I think it was 40%. So is that included in the 8 that don't make it to the end of the month, or is that addition to that?
That's included.
Okay. So what does that week-long intensive look like?
It is our actual interview process. Okay. So the interview process is the treadmill test. Right? I'm going to break off 100 leads in my database. I'm going to put them into your database. And then your job is to call, text, and email each one of those 100 every day for 5 days. And at the end of the week, if you still showed up, awesome. Let's continue on. If you don't show up, that's okay too.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if you can't do that, you can't do this.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, because you're literally just getting them to replicate what you would expect from your average agent, right? That is exactly the day job. It's as close to mirroring it as you possibly can, right?
Yeah.
What are your competitors doing? In your perception, are they having more success with this, less success? They don't have as high a bar? Like, why do you think that they have the same problem as you do?
So they do have the same problem that we do because we're all actively trying to recruit against each other, although many of us have kind of entered into this gentleman's agreement that if you got a great agent that works for you, I'm not going to go after them because at some point in time, you're going to go back and go after me. And that's a lot of resources spent trading people.
Yes.
And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Right. But yes, they are having the same issues. 2 of them are having a lead problem where they can't figure out how to generate more real estate leads at this time. And then the rest of us are having an agent attraction issue or a hiring issue.
Okay, fine. quite reminiscent of that email that I think it was Steve Jobs sent quite a long time ago saying, I thought we agreed that we would never poach each other's
Yes.
talent. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, okay. And so what are the core attributes that you're looking for over and above literally just picking up the phone? Do you, when you look at your very, very top performers, are there attributes that come out that you're like, we want to try and model this? This is what we're looking for when we're going on Indeed, when we're speaking to people. Is there something there that's consistent for you?
Yes, absolutely. So that goes back to our core values, which is how we form those as well. And part of what we do with our daily Zooms, it is also our big awards. So every quarter we do a quarterly all-team offsite meet, and we get production awards, which we just skim through. Like, okay, great. You sold 8 million in real estate last quarter. Awesome. Here's your award, buddy. Okay, great. We have a no jerks award. We literally spend 4 times the amount of time on that, on the core value awards, because I believe it means so much more than the pat on the head. Like, hey, I just sold a bunch of real estate. Like everybody knew, everybody in the company knows who number 1, 2, 3, and 4 is. Like that's not a secret. We all see the names on the boards. But who is the cannonball kid? Who's the one that is not tiptoeing around the pool and just diving in and trying to make it happen? That's a very big core value for us, because we get a lot of these guys out there that are just getting ready to get prepared, to question, to get going, to get moving, to get ready to, and then they never actually do anything because they're seeking way too much information instead of just diving in and picking up the phone and making a call or diving in and learning something or whatever that looks like. No jerks is one of our core values. I will fire to that every day of the week and twice on Tuesdays. Number one thing that we fire to. I fired my 1, 3, and 4 producers over the last 15 years because they were a-holes. And I can't have that because it tears down the production of all the people around them. Yeah. It really does. Every time I've made a big fire like that, our production has actually gone up, not down. Even though that person was a significant portion of our business. I'm talking 10 or 15%. You would think we would have lost 10%. We didn't. We actually gained 5% in every instance because people started showing back up to the office again. So those are the things that we're really looking for in people, are people that are willing to just jump in and just try it. People that are learning based and not ego driven. People that are ego less, but the ego stays at the door for everybody in this organization. Yeah. And generally speaking, each one of those core values is the reason somebody leaves.
Okay.
Or we ask them to leave.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes. Okay. Fine. Okay. And so when you're going on Indeed, how are you possibly screening? You spent last month 16,000. You said. So how are you screening for those core values, those 4 core values in Indeed? Is it literally putting up a job ad and then everybody that comes through, you're then screening for that, or is there some other mechanism that you're using?
Yeah. So there's 2-step screening process. The first one is we're getting them all onto one of our morning Zooms. We invite everybody that had applied. I'll say not everybody. That's not a great word. I would say 50% of the people that applied after looking at their resumes and seeing if they have some world experience or life experience. My recruiter is looking for something where they had to be self-sufficient at some point in their life, at some role. Okay. Not necessarily punching a clock, because this is a very self-sufficient thing. My days of my day of calling you up and saying, hey man, it's 9:05. Where are you at? You're supposed to be in the office making your dials. My days of doing that are done. It's not fun for me. It's not fun for you. You're either going to do it or you're not. But if you do it, I'll pour all my time into you. It allows me the ability to say, hey, how can I help you achieve your goals faster? Yeah. And that's a better conversation. And so if you haven't demonstrated something like that on your resume, we're not asking you to the Zoom. Now from there, we ask you to a Zoom. You're literally in one of our huddles for that 15 to 30 minutes. And then afterwards, we do a full-on group interview. And we do it that way for 2 reasons. One, another 10 or 15% of people will literally say, this is not for me. You guys are too hokey. You're too happy. Like, I'm an angry human at this moment in my life. So this is not the place I want to be. Yes. Angry and happy don't go well together. And that's great. That's perfect. That's what I want. I want those 10 or 50% to literally just hop off the Zoom and don't return. Perfect. And then from there, we do a group interview where we talk about the company a little bit, but then we answer all of their questions about real estate. And then another 10 or 15% will opt out because they don't like this whole collaborative thing. We're a very collaborative company. Real estate's a very lone wolf industry, and it's very lonely. So we try to create that. We try to create that straight out the gate, operating that Zoom and that interview as a team. And then from there, we move on to the individual phone call interview, should they still be interested. So of the 50 that hop on, generally half of them opt out at some point in time there. which is
Okay.
great.
Yes.
That's great.
And then you whittle the 25 down to roughly 10 after that phone interview.
Yep.
Okay. So in your perception then, is it a case that obviously you want to get more at the back end, but is it a conversion rate from beginning to end that's the issue, or you're just not getting enough of the right people in at the beginning?
I think it could be a little bit of both. I think we might have tightened the screws a little too much on who we're allowing in the front door. I think we probably could let another couple in a month, and that would definitely positively impact the number. I think if we let too many in, then we're going to overwhelm the system because I don't have enough people to work that front end. Yeah. And I don't know if there's a different method that I can get just a few more a month of the right guy, or like Julie, like that avatar. Like my kids are grown and gone, and I just need to kill it for a couple of years because I need to fill up my retirement account. Or like a Christina, where it's like, man, I got to add 75 to 90,000 to the family budget every year. And if I don't, our family's going to fail. So I'd better damn well do it. Like that. I don't know where to go get that avatar at this moment.
So let's come to that in a second, right? Because that's filling up the bucket, and that's obviously a bit further up the chain. But I'm interested in the you might have over-indexed in terms of what exactly the type of profile you're looking for, right? So, and this is just a controversial question, right? If you were to loosen that belt just a little bit to let in 1 or 2 extra people on the other end, so rather than the 2 people out of the 10 making it through, you say 3 or 4 made it through, which materially over the next 4 or 5 months makes actually quite a big impact in terms of getting to your 85, right? What would be the downside for that? Because looking at it from my perspective, you're not necessarily paying them a salary unless they contribute and the commission comes through. They're picking up the phone, and obviously you don't want to burn leads. I completely understand that. But I would imagine the risk of you getting a bad review is relatively low at that point, assuming they're not being a complete arsehole and swearing at them when they pick up or anything like that. So what would be the downside in your perception of you kind of loosening the belt just a little bit?
Two downsides. One, and you touched on with the leads, where not only just burning them, but also if we do end up inviting them to go work somewhere else, a lot of them will take the leads with them.
Okay.
And that's potential sales that my current people could do that they're not doing because during the first week or 2 weeks, they develop some sort of a relationship with you as a lead, but then you switch companies. It doesn't affect the consumer. The consumer doesn't care what real estate brokerage an agent works for. With real estate, you're working with humans, not companies. That's the connection. And so if they formed a connection with somebody and that person still sucks and we let them go or they opt out, they could take that sale with them. And so that could literally be hundreds of sales per year. And that's always a concern.
Can I just pause on that one? How real is that risk though? Because if they're not making it to the next level, what is the likelihood that they're building good enough relationships with enough people to actually take them with them?
It is probably more of an outsized risk in my mind than reality. Now that you say it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a fair point. Actually, the ones that end up, and now that you're saying it, no, the ones that end up taking the clientele with them are the ones that have been with me for 5 years, but then they decide to go somewhere else. Because they've got 60 million worth of real estate in their bucket. They've got, 500 transactions, 400 transactions in their bucket, whatever that looks like. And then so they can just go on their own and take all those people with them because they've developed relationships, not me, not the company.
Yeah.
Like we're not Coke or Pepsi, like a guy. Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's a very different problem to solve for, right? That's obviously retention at the very, very senior level, or more senior level if you're looking at 5 years, right? Maybe not the most senior levels, but it's a very different problem that you're solving for. The specific problem that we're solving for here is how can you get from 60 to 85? And it sounds like the actual risk is quite low basis because you're looking at that and that's quite painful and thinking, oh, it's similar here. Realistically, let's assume if they flame out from you, they're not really going anywhere. Or they're not going to.
Probably not. They're probably getting out of the business. Yeah. They're probably sending their license back to the state, literally. The other hard part is Audrey on my team, who's amazing. I promoted her into being the boot camp and launch coach. So that's her. She still sells. She still will sell 18 to 20 homes a year, but I pay her a very distinct salary. So there's a payroll there to handle those 10 or so that are coming through the pipe. And the more I expand that, the less she can sell, which means the more I've got to increase her salary.
Okay.
Which that's the hard cost.
Yes, I understand that. But is that not going to be a problem irrespective of whether you loosen the belt or not loosen the belt, right? Because I assume the 10 is still relatively similar. It's only the 2 or the 4 out the back that changes, right?
Yeah.
And so for Audrey, um, if you're going to get to 85, you still need to find a way of getting better people in. So she's still going to be dealing at some point with the same amount of people. So is that a real issue as well?
If we can get them out faster, or she spends a lot of time with them.
Mm.
So even when we weed 8 out of 10 out, like going from 2 to 4 is a significant lift for her
Yeah.
because that's a lot of one-on-one time for her.
Mm.
And going from 2 to 4 would definitely take her sales down 30 or 40%,
Yes.
which means I got to pay her. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
for sure.
a significant salary. Yeah.
Yeah. But my point is that you have to go from 2 to 4 or 5 or 6 to get to your number in the time frame that you want to get there. You have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. No, that's a really good point. So what you're saying is I got to bite the bullet and write the check and bring her on full time in that capacity so I can get from 2 to 6.
Well, however you whether you loosen the belt and let more people in, or you just have a very high bar but you get better quality people in, she's still got to get more people in. She's still got to speak to more people. She's still got to have that one-on-one time. So either her or someone else has to give up deals.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. And it's a hockey stick, right?
Mm.
It's a very traditional hockey stick. That's what you're talking about. Just a temporary lowering in net company income because I got to pay her higher salary. But then if she could pop out more in 100 days, the salary is negligible because I've got 6 more people actually producing deals.
Yes.
So I just need to accept that I will make less as a net over the winter.
But my argument is that you're always going to make less, no matter how you square this, right? Because you want to get to 85.
Yeah.
85 is the only objective. So yeah, you have.
And I'm not being argumentative.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying that at
I'm
all.
self-discovering. Okay, good. Okay, I didn't want you to take it that way.
No.
I felt like I was coming off like a little rude. I was like, that's not my intention. Yeah.
No, I'm British. I'm not that soft. Don't worry.
Right. Where are you from, by the way?
From the southwest, so a tiny little place called Plymouth. I don't know whether you would know it. So
I got a Plymouth right down the road. Yeah.
Pilgrims left to kind of discover America, actually. So that's the.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. My brother-in-law's from Leeds. Go figure.
Oh, okay. Complete opposite end of the country.
I meant to ask that at the beginning. I forgot to ask that. But yeah, to your point, I understand what you're saying. The only path to 85 is by putting more resources towards it in some form or fashion, which is going to mean I have to loosen up more hours for her to be able to train as we bring more people in towards the front. I need to open up the front door. I understand what you're saying. And so I need to figure out how to go. I write this down is what I need to do. I need to figure out how to go after the right avatar, whether that's through some sort of a different method through a LinkedIn or other, where I'm probably more headhunting, which means I'm going to need somebody to actually headhunt. And that's going to be a salary. I need to let 15 through instead of 10, which gets me closer to, well, no, I would need to let more than that, 20 through instead of 10, which gets me closer to the 6 I need, which means I've got to increase Audrey's salary. So that's salary number 2, or actually 1.5, because she's already on the books. But also some sort of a marketing spend to make it a little easier on those guys. So somebody's coming in to us as well, being attracted to us. And as we're talking, one of the things I did jot down is anywhere in my marketing, whether it is consumer facing or marketing for agents to join our brokerage, do I have anything regarding the vision of why we exist? And I'd rather have people on the boat because they want to be part of that mission than, hey, I just want to make $100,000. Yeah. Because you could just do hey, I want to make $100,000 at a number of companies.
And who is more likely to go make the $100,000? Someone that wants to go make $100,000 just because they want to make $100,000, or because they want to make $100,000 and make a difference?
Yeah. And who's going to be here 5 years later?
Exactly. Yeah.
See, this is not the stuff we talk about with any of my coaching. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. He's an exceptional business coach, an exceptional
Yeah,
real estate business coach. But this is just not the stuff that we talk about.
fair. Like, one thing that comes to mind when you said about the vision was, I believe it was Henry Ford, and he walked past an advertisement in his office, and he pointed at it and said to marketing, "When the bloody hell are we changing the marketing from this?" And his marketing team turned around and said to him, "Henry, we haven't even put it out yet." The point being that the point where you become incredibly bored about the rhetoric that you're putting out is the point that other people are starting to listen. And so you're probably not telling your vision to enough people enough of the time.
That's really good. That's really good. Henry Ford also said, "Why did you make a car when nobody wanted a car?" And he said, "Well, if I asked people what they wanted, they would just say, I want a faster horse."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And so, yeah, sometimes you have to kind of tell them what they really want, right? You have to tell them that this vision exists.
Yeah.
Most people probably don't even know the problem that you're solving for exists, right?
Well, that was the iPhone, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was any number of products, really. But yeah, creating a market that did not previously exist and crushing everybody with it. I mean, OpenAI is doing it right now.
Yeah.
Well, Anthropic and some other companies. But who knew 5 years ago that I would want AI every day?
Yeah, exactly. But Anthropic is a perfect example in many ways. We try to poach many of their top performers, and they offered them absolutely insane wages to go and work for them. And quite a lot of them said no, because the mission and the vision at Anthropic is so much more compelling. So go and repeat your vision as much as you possibly can, right?
Yeah. Now I need to look up what the vision of Anthropic is.
Oh, you've put me on the spot, but it's essentially to use it for the betterment of human mankind, basically.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think as leaders, like one of the most important things that we can do is set that vision and be very consistent with that vision, right? Another classic example is Patagonia, right? People will join not for more salary, just because they are so bought in kind of saving the home planet. And so you've got an incredible vision. I would be going on podcast and singing it from the rooftops that this is what we're going to do. This is what we're solving for. And then I think you will find that actually the people that come and interview with you are so more bought in with working with Michael. He's got this great idea of what we're going to do, even before you started talking about, okay, you're going to make 100 phone calls or anything like that.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Because 100 phone calls does sound rough, and it does sound, I mean, it's egregious. Compared to an average real estate agent, it's a high number. 100 phone calls in a week is a high number. 100 phone calls in a month is actually a high number. But then the number of homes, a little north of 70% of real estate agents in 2025 did not sell a single home. Not one.
Yeah.
Now, it took all the way up to 93% until people started selling 10 homes or more. 7% of real estate agents sold 10 homes. If you're not selling 10 homes, you're not paying a mortgage, you're not putting food on the table, you're not making a car payment, you're not paying your insurance. It's not happening. You're poor. You're broke.
Yeah.
And you need to go do something else.
Yes.
And that's not an offensive thing. It just is what it is. At some point in time, you got to pony up and say, I got to do the work, or I need to leave this industry.
Yes.
And that is the absolute biggest problem with real estate.
Yeah. So that's a great point, right? That's a lot of concerns that people will have coming in, right? And obviously, you solve for that in your mind by getting them to make 100 phone calls a day. You are doing that for many ways, obviously for you, but also for the betterment of them, because you know that the more inputs that they put in, right, to steal a Jeff Bezos expression, the more inputs you get in, the more realistic the output is, right? But they probably just come in and think, wow, that is a higher number than I thought I was going to be expected to do. So,
yeah.
Probably put it politely, to be honest. So you've got the top line vision that I think is really very compelling, that you haven't sold enough. I think there's also another layer below that could be very compelling to sell. Like, what are we doing? What is Michael doing that makes you more likely to succeed than going to anybody else?
I'm writing this down. The second line vision is their success. So top line vision is what we're meant to do in the world, where we leave the world a better place when we're done with it. The second line vision is how we're uniquely contributing to their success. I like the word uniquely. Through having a dedicated bootcamp coach, which no one else in the area does. This person is literally on staff to make sure that you succeed should you choose to accept the mission. The mission is do the 100 dials in the first week.
Yeah.
100 hours per day in the first week.
Mm. I would
If
probably
you
go a
do,
step. Sorry, go
go,
on.
go, no, keep going, keep going.
I was going to say I'd probably go a step further than that, right? I would probably want to know if I was coming in and I didn't know who necessarily your organization was. I was just joining because I wanted to be a great real estate agent. I would probably want to know, okay, well, first week, 2 weeks looks quite brutal. I'm going to make 100 calls a day. What does my 1 month mark look like? What does Michael expect me 3 months, 6 months, 12 months?
Writing it down. Because in my head, a lot of that, of course, is clear.
Mm,
But as you're asking the question, I know it's not written down anywhere.
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Very similar to the kind of Henry Ford thing, an old manager said to me that completely changed the way that I thought about things. So in that role, I was trying to spread e-commerce throughout the organization. So I worked at Reckitt, which was kind of similar to a Unilever or P&G in the US, right? And we were trying to proliferate e-commerce throughout the organization, which is quite a traditionally brick and mortar offline brand. And I knew, because I lived it every day, that e-commerce was really important, especially given the growth rate that it was going to change the way that the business was done. And so I knew coming into conversations when I talked to a senior VP or a general manager, I would say, okay, well, this is important. But I wasn't saying it enough. And what my manager said to me was, at the point that you become bored saying it is the point that they will start listening. And so you need to kind of really get through to the idea that actually just keep on reiterating the things that you know to be important, but you just haven't told anyone, really. You've been in the industry 24 years. You know everything inside out, back to front, upside down. The people that you're speaking to, it's their day one. It's a very different frame of reference that they're coming into.
This is good. Gosh, this is good. And it reminds me of have you read the book Good to Great?
Yes, yeah, I have, yeah.
Yeah. How he talks about, I forgot which chapter it was, but in the book he was talking about how leaders, 90% of the words that come out of their mouth have to be about the vision. Only 10% about the tactical.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he also firmly believes, and I do believe, that a great CEO or great leader of a large organization is really getting paid to make 3 or 4 great decisions per year. And other than that, they cast vision.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah.
That's good.
And yeah. And so I think that sub-tier is like, what is in it for them? Like you, obviously I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, this salary or the compensation that you pay is not too dissimilar to your competitors. Is that fair?
No, we all have very similar variation of the same thing.
Yeah. So if they are coming into your organization at this moment in time, you haven't changed anything yet, why do they go to you rather than John down the street?
Right now, we have the reputation that if you make it past the first week, let me rephrase that. If you make it past 12 months, you don't make less than $100,000 a year. No one does in the org.
Okay. And do they
in
know
real estate, that's people. I would say some of them know it coming in because they've heard it from other people and from other realtors that they've just talked to or done deals with over time. And that's also another opportunity I got to write down is co-op agents. We're very unique in real estate that if we do 1,000 deals, it means we probably worked with an additional 500 to 700 real estate agents that we should be talking to as well about our vision and our team. That's a whole pool of people that we're not addressing right now. Okay. I wrote that down too.
Yeah, and I don't know your business model super well, but I would imagine that that's quite low-hanging fruit. If they're already in the industry, if you're already talking to them, if they already know about the $100,000 and probably a little bit more about your vision and things like that, you switching them is probably easier than going to a pool of people that you don't necessarily know.
Yeah. Nope, you're right. And that is the number one thing that I need to be talking about right there. And I have a set of recruiting letters that goes to people, when they get a license, none of which talks about the vision.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can you send me back the first 3 recruiting letters? I, of course, need to re-edit them again because I just realized I don't talk about vision in any of them. Thank you. That was not a voice to text, so he did not hear the intonation or the inflection of me being irritated with myself.
Cool.
But yeah, no, those need to go in there too. It needs to go everywhere. You're right.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows either of these 2 visions. I do. I'm the least important person to know it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's probably right. Yes.
Yeah.
And so, actually, the reason I asked this is because I took over EMEA for a global consultancy at one point, and I rewrote all of the job descriptions that we had, right? Because men are willing to apply for jobs that they have, I can't remember the exact statistics, but let's say 30-40% of the available skills for, right? Whereas women, unless they have nearly 100% of the skill requirements, they don't apply. And
Well,
so,
that's interesting.
to my
Yeah.
perception, what that meant was that I was missing out on huge swathes of the population, incredibly talented people, because my job description didn't speak to the people that I wanted to speak to.
Writing that down because you're right. And I got to go and relook over my Indeed job descriptions. I'm still going to use Indeed because it's still successful for us, just not at that level.
Yeah.
But I've never thought about that from a male versus female perspective, 30% versus 80 or 90%.
Mm.
And it makes sense.
Because that shift alone, right, that could make, I'm not going to do public maths because I may promise not to do that, but like you would imagine that would add quite a lot more to your filter, right? You are going to then speaking to people that you're not speaking to. That probably takes your 10 to 15, which by changing nothing else other than the requirements that you have to kind of pick up the phone or to mail in a CV or anything like that, changes your outcome.
Yeah, it does. I have a lot of work to do.
Well, it's good work, right? Because the great thing about this is how much money does it cost you with Indeed?
Nowadays, I've got to spend down to $3,500 a month.
To do this, you don't have to spend more money there, right? You probably have to do it once, right? Or iterate it a couple of times as you kind of realize things as they come through, but not a huge amount. And then you've got a different pool of people immediately. You've changed nothing else. In fact, add in the vision on top of that, and you've probably gone from 15 to maybe 18, 20 anyway, right? So you potentially have changed 50, 100% the pool of people that you're speaking to.
Yeah.
For net nothing, basically. A little bit of work, right? But not a huge amount else.
A little bit of work, a little bit of recasting, a little expense on the training side, which is fine.
Mm.
I take it you coach for a living? Or consult?
I do.
Yeah.
I coach, yeah.
That makes sense. This all makes sense. Yeah.
Good.
And you probably have a lot of experience doing it because you can solve a business's problem in what is now 59 minutes and a few seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to get to what is the real crux of things rather than what we think the crux of things are, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's exceptional. Thank you. I appreciate it. Most coaches and most business analysts don't scuba dive, they snorkel.
Mm. Cool.
And they don't break it apart like this into smaller pieces or small enough pieces.
Mm. So what are the most immediate actions for you so far in this conversation? Like, what are you going to take away and implement today or over the next few days?
Well, my most immediate action was I just texted my director of sales, who is in charge of my recruiting platforms, and said we're having a meeting in about 20 minutes. Whatever you're doing, stop.
Okay.
Because we're going to be talking about our recruiting dialogue. Number one, when we're talking with recruits, making sure that we're bringing forth the bigger vision and the second level vision immediately, like in conversation number one. Like, hey, I know you applied to this company because we already have recruits coming in. I know you applied to this company. Before we talk about the body of work itself, we need to talk about where we're going, what this company will do in 1, 3, 5, and 10 years to solve for these problems, and how dedicated Michael is to making sure that this is in fact solved for, because we can do this.
Yeah.
And then second, how dedicated this company is to your success. As you may or may not know, our track record is no one with us 12 months or longer earns less than 100,000 net to them per year. Knowing in real estate that the average person that sells homes sells 2 a year, the top 7% sell 10 a year, and you're still not paying your bills, which is what makes us different to your family.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of coming up with this on the spot. I'll feather it out and I'll work it out. But this needs to get there. And then I need to add everything into all of our marketing around it, whether it's our recruiting letters, our Indeed job ads. I do a lot on social media.
Mm.
Like, I mean, I'm averaging 6 to 8 pieces of content per day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, between like just Instagram alone is 6 to 8 a day. And then 2 long form YouTube videos every week that run, 15 to 30 minutes. None of it addresses this whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Even the general public doesn't know, like, why use us? What is, like, yeah, a real estate company is a real estate company is a real estate company, but why us? So even our customers don't know.
Yeah.
Of course, we're going to give you a 5-star experience. We have 3,100 5-star Google reviews. Our next
Mm.
up competitor has 600. We have that talk track laid out. So we don't have a talk track around what happens next. Why use us 10 years from now again?
Yeah. Or why use us the first time, right? Like that is a very compelling vision, right? If you came to me and said, well, you got John that you don't know and Michael at this point that you don't know, but John is in it because he's been doing it for the last 30 years and he just wants to make more money and he wants his reps to make more money. Or you've got Michael who's been doing it for 24 years, but he actually has this mission that he wants to solve hunger for like the children level and the senior level. That's a pretty compelling reason to work with you, right? And again, it makes me think of Tom's, right? Buy a pair of shoes, give a pair away.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
grew very, very quickly, like no company I've ever seen really in that space. I'm sure partly because people liked them, but also because they knew that buying them made them feel good. And so I don't know what fees that you charge in exchange for selling someone's home, but I'd feel a lot better about giving that fee away if I knew on some way it's going to make a meaningful difference for the world.
Also true.
And so that one change for your organization, I would imagine, just by you putting the 6 or 7 pieces of content out on Instagram and then the long form on YouTube, etc., and reiterating why you're in business, why you get up in the morning, what you're doing, why you're doing it, that will bring in more people, right? But it also solves the other problem, which you don't have as a problem, but it brings in even more business, I would imagine. So the people that
It
you do
does.
have to sell your homes now have even more work to do because people are bought into working with Michael versus anybody else.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And you're right. And it does. And as we get bigger, it does get easier. It does. Like when we hit 60 million in real estate, it got easier. When we hit 130 million, it got easier. When we hit 200 million, it got easier. And it gets easier because of the brand recognition. Because now, like especially now, like we have, I've got 2 full-time editors, I got a full-time marketing director, and we can crank content that's getting an average of 15 to 18 million views per month. No one else is performing at that level in Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And so in your perception, other than the growth, what else are you doing that's different to them that might be worth pulling out and using in your marketing copy or in your conversations?
The other part that I was thinking of, this is a very much what's in it for them real estate agent mentality is I am actively using advertising methods that my competitors are not. And it's producing lower funnel, higher quality leads. If you Google real estate agent in Novi, Michigan, which is the specific city I'm sitting in, I will come up number 1 on the map.
Yes.
Right. So I pay around $12,000 a month to make sure that I have the sponsor position for 173 cities, townships, and villages. When people click on that, because they also see my review counts and they see everybody else that I'm up against. And when people click on that, that is a very, I need a real estate agent right now to go show me a home tomorrow because I'm buying one next week lead. That's not a pay-per-click lead that's 18 months out or a Facebook lead that's 30 months out. That's a now lead. That is, I need to buy a house. And a lot of agents that join us, they need to put food on their table now. I can give them a pay-per-click that they have to call it once a month for 18 months for it to convert, but they still need to pay the mortgage this month. Right? And then AI, a lot of people have not figured out the power of being cited in AI as a company. That's literally how somebody got to me a couple of months ago. So now we got to own all of that. Yeah. And chat ads, I don't know if they're ever going to work.
Yeah. But if you can find a way of doing it organically as well, from my perspective, I get a handful of organic leads at this point coming through AI. And similar to having someone pre-bought into a vision, if someone comes to me having looked me up on AI, it is night and day almost between from any other channel, even versus like
Yeah.
social media. It's a completely different game because they have had a whole different level of conversation with chat or Claude or whoever it might be in terms of who they are, what they want, why they want it. And so if it suggests you versus anybody else, you've got to do something pretty crazy to not get them to be bought in already to working with you.
Yeah. No, and that is it. And that's exactly right. And on the real estate side of it, it was really interesting. It was two things that had me start going down this path a year ago. It was that conversation where the guy was looking for his father. And then there was also another one where, and every once in a while, I personally go crazy and I go off the rails. And so I did in May, where like, as people that work for companies, you complain, which is fine. And complaining was sort of towards a very high, like, oh, the leads suck, the sales suck. This is, everything sucks. Okay, great. Well, if everything sucks, I'm going to go do it myself for a month.
Mm.
And I did. I cold started a real estate business, doing everything that we teach, not taking the top 2 lead types. Even I let those go. And I still sold 5.1 million worth of real estate in 30 days, which was way beyond my number 1 producer. And everybody's like, oh yeah, you're right. We're just not doing the work. We're just complaining. The market's just harder. The interest rates are just higher. Okay. And then they all got back to work and life was good. But during that time, I was door knocking and I went door knocked an expired listing. And I was walking up the driveway and the guy was at the top washing his car and he looked at me and he said, hey, Michael, how you doing? Have we talked before? He's like, no, we've never met. I just know who you are. I'm like, okay, tell me about that. He's like, well, when my home as my home was coming off the market, unsold, I asked Claude, this is the first time I heard of Claude, I need a real estate agent that is experienced at selling luxury homes in Rochester Hills, Michigan. Who should I hire? And as it turns out, I came in number 4, not number 1.
So there's quite a few things there, right? The one thing that I think is really interesting is in 30 days, you outdid your top contributor and you put aside the top 2 lead quality bandings, right? Did you document that in any way?
I did not. I should have. I'm writing that down.
I would imagine that would be for a real estate agent coming in to work at an organization. Not only does Michael really believe what he's telling me, he's gone and done it, right? And he's also done it with a quality that is below what his top contributors are getting. So what is that signaling to them coming in, right? You practice what you preach. You've got a process that's pretty well dialed in, that those other lead qualities must be bloody marvelous, right? If you didn't even want to do them and you still outdid it. So if I join this organization, Michael really cares about life because he wants to feed people. He really cares about me because that's the motivation for continuing to grow the organization. And he really has nailed in a process that is repeatable in a way that if I go anywhere else, I'm not going to have.
I'm writing that down. Got it. Those are the 3 I need to weave in.
Yeah. And I think that is done by you recording the process of you probably over the next 30 days going and proving that you can do it in any situation, right?
Yep. So now I need to do that again.
Not to add more to your plate, but I think it would be an unbelievable case study. One of my first jobs, I worked as an analyst for an inside sales team at IBM, right?
It's cool.
And so I saw all of the numbers for all of the inside sales members, and you would see the top performers and you would see the bottom performers. And what do the bottom performers think? Oh, there's some magic that the top have. They're more articulate than me. They understand it better than me. They've been in the industry longer than me. Do you know the only difference? You probably know off the top of your head, right? The difference, right? The fact that they just did the basics better than everybody else. They made more calls. They sent more emails. They followed up more. That was it. If you didn't do it and you complained about it, funnily enough, you didn't make it.
Yep. That's really funny. That's exactly right with real estate, with our inside sales team, with all of it. All of it. Oh, that's funny. I have 3 pages of notes.
Yeah. So with the 3 pages of notes, with the fact that you were on the phone call as we were joining the call together, I think you've got other places to be. So let's put a pin in it for there, right? You already
this is
said
a great podcast, by the way. Like I am definitely listening to your podcast, like because you're doing this. You tackled challenges with people all the time, like this.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, we're doing it. Okay.
Cool. So I take from that this has been useful, and you have
Very much
immediate
so.
next steps that you're going to go and apply, right?
I'm going to walk out this door and apply it, and my director of sales is ready. He is out. He is on the other side of my glass door. He is ready. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I might know a guy that right now, if you look at all the real estate teams in the United States, there's probably 1,500 of them. We're ranked number 12. There's one guy that's bigger than me. He's about 50% bigger than me that could definitely use something very similar to this. I'm going to steer him your way. Thank you.
That sounds amazing. Thank you very much. And the same for you. Look, it's been great talking to you. For anyone watching this, how is it best to kind of get in contact with you if they want to become an agent with you, if they're bought into the mission, they just want to support, or they want to list a home with you? What's the best way of doing that?
You bet. Best way is to reach out to me directly. I can be reached at Michael Perna at pernateam.com. That's P as in Paul, ERNA. The pernateam.com is my website, or just call me 248-425-5082. And that is my direct cell phone, not an office line.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. It's been great talking to you. I'm looking forward to seeing how you implement things, but yeah, thank you for today.
Likewise. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it.